I need to see y'all. All right, so we're live. We are waiting for our other panel guests. I'm very, very excited tonight because we have Josh on here. We have some other people that will be coming on here with us. Josh is not going to use this as a mirror because Josh,
we good. I'm in here.
Josh is being fly tonight. He being like extra fly. He like,
no.
You might as well go like this. Remember how your brother used to go? Come here. Let me get that off your back. Come here. That right there on your eye.
I'm good.
You know, I never did that to my kids because I always thought that was so disgusting.
Oh, Josh hates it. I do it just to aggravate.
You do it?
To aggravate me. I'm like, come here.
I would be so mad at you as a parent. Like, why are you touching me? Why are you doing that? That's disgusting.
You know, Josh think he grown, so
that is love. That's real love. I'm searching for some real love. Someone to take my heart, 'cause real love. Why searching for?
I will sing with you, but you know.
You what?
I don't sing on Thursday.
Don't worry, Josh. I can sing, you can dance, because you know I can't dance. You already know I have no rhythm. But don't judge my rhythm, okay? The Jesus in me, love the Jesus in you.
And that's
so easy. Okay, so we have other panelists that are coming. We have some that are arriving to my house. We also have some that are supposed to be logged on right now. Don't let me call him out. Where is he? I'm about to hit him up. Like, why are you late?
I think I was super early too. Like, I was excited. I was on just sitting.
You should be excited. Talk about I was excited. Guys, we're gonna be right with y'all. Yeah, this is y'all intermission time, you know. So they hit me up. Okay, so if you're trying to log in, okay, so we're just waiting for a few people to get on. So I'm trying to get people adapt to get on, guys. So if you guys want to come on here, you got anything to say, you can go ahead and, you know, say whatever you want to say. You can put your comments up, whatever you want to say. We welcome you on tonight. We got some great topics and discussions we're going to hit you guys with. You also have the option to ask any questions or anything like that. We're free fall here. There's no judgment zone here. We're just here to give out information, give life experiences. It's just that we're all about being genuine, about being the genuine you, making sure that you are taking care of you. At the end of the day, you are the most important factor in life. And that's all we're about. That's all we're about. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. So Josh, tell us a little about yourself.
I'm Josh. And I don't know. You gotta ask. What do you want me to say?
Hi, Pastor Sean Harden. How are you? I hope you got good Wi-Fi because you look like you real still right now. And you looking scary. Is your Wi-Fi good, bro?
Yeah, how you all doing?
We good. Let me find out you got Wi-Fi. We try to fight to stay on. Look, you got the echo going and everything. Do you have good reception?
I'm in the office in my basement, so I don't know.
Oh, you all got good reception, Doc. You echoing and everything. Come on, man of God. Don't mess my thing up now. We try to get Josh introduction. We don't want Josh to be like Josh. His name. His name, he going. He gonna get it set straight, Josh. So, Josh, tell us what you do. Tell us how many children you have. Tell us if you're single or not.
Okay, well, I'm Josh. I'm 35. I turned 35 yesterday.
Happy birthday!
I have 2 children. I have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Wow.
I am single, happily divorced. I'm joking. I am single though.
Why do people always say that? I'm happily divorced?
Because divorce is not always a bad thing. I mean, my divorce, we're still friends. Like, we should have never gotten married, but that's one of my best friends, so that's why I say happily divorced.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's some good information. That's a great dialogue into our conversation tonight, Josh, because a lot of people do think that divorce is just like a horrible thing, and now you're damaged goods because you were divorced. No. And they don't understand. You can have a harmonic divorce where you both are in harmony with each other and you're actually closer, you're actually friends. Dang, my teeth look really great.
It took a while to get to that point. Once we realized, got the hurt out, got all of that out, and realized like we should have just never got married. I was young, she was young, right. I was 24. You know, I thought I was doing the right thing. You know, being
that's 11 years ago. Wow,
being a minister in the church, and you get married. That's what we're taught to do. So
you want to make the right decisions, right?
I did what I thought was best at the time, and 11 years later, that was not the right thing. So, but
I'm glad you are where you are today, and it shows that growth, and it shows maturity, and it opens you up for the next possible relationship or marriage. So Josh is single, y'all. For all y'all ladies that's on here, he's 35, 2 kids, good dad. He works, got a full-time job. He is single. So y'all want to hit him up? Y'all hit him up. Don't y'all be hitting me in my inbox talking about what's his name again? Can you say a word? I'm not. I advocate for no anybody.
She'll tell me. She'll tell me.
And so we have Pastor Sean on here, Harden. Do you want me to say Pastor Sean or not? Do you? I mean, because you're a pastor all the time.
Yeah, pastor is my title, but most people just call me Pastor Sean. But you can all call me Sean for short tonight. Is that all right?
Okay, Sean is good. Give us some introductions, okay. Sean. How do you know the beautiful, wonderful Annetta Williams?
The whole story or just part of it?
Now don't get a whole story, honey.
No, well, number one, you're a friend of mine, and you've been a friend of mine for quite some time actually now, and I think it is through the ministry that you have done in terms of your singing and your praise and worship is how we've come into contact with each other. So that is how I know the beautiful Annetta Williams. And we thank God for you. And that you get a little background on me. Of course, most people have not been pastoring for about 16 years, been in the ministry for almost 30 years now. I'm 42 years old, actually a divorcee myself. Like the brother here, I'm thankful for my divorce. It's probably one of the best things that really happened to me. So I'm quite thankful for that. In terms of, I have, 5 children, 3 daughters, 2 sons. And so that is a challenge within itself. Ministry is a challenge, but then you talk about relationships and in terms of being single and then in terms of being single and how that affects your life and all of those things. So we're here to talk about that stuff tonight, but that's just a little bit about me. And of course, here we are tonight. So hello, everyone.
Hello. Well, I'm very, very excited that you guys came on. And ladies, as you heard, Pastor Sean is single as well. So don't y'all be hitting me up like, okay, what about the Sean and the Joshua? Y'all can hit me in my inbox. I'm just going to forward the message to them, because I'm all about connecting people and seeing love in the air. All I got to say is if y'all two get married, I better be the matron of honor, the maid of honor, the stand-up girl, something. Because if I'm hooking up, I better have a position.
You didn't ask me how we met.
Josh, how did we meet, Josh?
Well, we just knew each other from around, but we really got cool serving at church together. I was youth pastor, and I think you were head of the nurses, and that's where we forged our friendship.
Yeah.
The nurse.
She was the head of the nurses. She was a mean nurse too. Won't give us no peppermints. Yeah, pastor drink Fiji. I had to drink Walmart water.
We are not gonna start this show off with your shenanigans. Not tonight. This dude is a straight comedian. You drink Walmart water?
It was Walmart water. Matter of fact, y'all took the leftover Fiji bottles from Pastor and put tap water in them. That's what y'all gave me. That's how they did me.
I'm not fooling with him tonight. Okay. Yeah, everyone that knows Josh on here, y'all all know that Josh is a comedian at heart. Okay. So Josh is gonna have us laughing tonight. He gonna take some digs at me because that's what Josh do. And we just thank you all for coming on tonight. Again, like I stated, this is reality here. We're uncut, raw, edited. At the end of the day, we do believe in Jesus Christ. At the end of the day, we just want to give information so people can be better individuals, so you can date better, but date in a healthy way. So again, I'm Annetta Williams. I'm a minister. I'm a behavioral nurse. I'm a life coach, certified life coach. I'm a grandmother of 4. Just had my recent grandbaby who is literally 8 days old today. Thank you. And I have 4 wonderful adult children, 3 sons and a daughter-in-law, and a son-in-law. So, you know, my kids they making the mama proud up in this camp. So tonight we are going to discuss 3 topics that are very strong topics in our community as our community of dating. One of the topics is talking about rejection and compromising. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And then we're going to also talk about what's in your closet. Okay. And then we're going to talk about forgiveness for the relationship and forgiveness in the relationship. So that kind of coincides with all of us. I'm a divorcee as well. I could say the same thing as you all say. I'm not happily divorced, but I'm peacefully divorced. So I could say that I'm at peace where I'm not happy about it. I didn't want to be divorced. But again, at the end of the day, where I'm at today is letting me know that God has something better for me. Now, let me put that plug out. I don't want to get married again. No. But I am good with dating and dating with the purpose of just being individuals. Okay. Right. So let's talk about rejection and compromise. Josh, let's go. You go first. Let's talk about this rejection and compromising in a relationship.
Okay. Far as just in general?
Yes, in general.
I think in a lot of relationships, we compromise our standards for the sake of not being alone. And I think that has been, since the divorce, that has been one of my main struggles. Certain things that I say are quote unquote non-negotiables. But you'll meet somebody who display those things that you say, I'm never going to do again. But for the sake of being alone, you'll be like, well, you know, we can work on that. We can work on that. So we compromise our standards because we don't want to be alone. In a relationship, we compromise. We overlook stuff that we should address, stuff that we should deal with for the same reason. Oh, you know, whatever it is, whether it be violence or whatever the issue is, we'll compromise that because, I love this person. I got kids. I got this. I got that. So we compromise those things because, I mean, who really wants to be by themselves? So I know me personally, I've compromised a lot to stay in relationships that I shouldn't have stayed in, or dealt with things that I typically wouldn't have dealt with. But I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be by myself. So I chose to compromise those things.
So in compromising those things, Josh, do you feel like you gave a piece of yourself in a negative or healthy way by compromising?
Negative way. Absolutely. I completely lost who I was. And that's in anything. When you compromise who you are for whatever reason, you lose yourself. You lose who you are. You lose your values, you lose your standards, and then you're chasing something that's not there, a false reality of what you think this thing is that you're chasing. And I said it even in my marriage. We were friends, and so for a long time, I was chasing that friendship piece, and I was equating that to, oh, this is who I'm supposed to be with for the rest of my life. And so when things got bad, I'm like, okay, but I remember when XYZ. I remember this. And so I chased that for a long time because I wanted that feeling.
Right.
And so once I realized that, that wasn't going to happen, that wasn't it, and it just wasn't what I should have done. Then I had to come back, find myself. And I mean, even now, I'm still working on me. I'm still trying to find me, and be whole again before I can go to give my heart to somebody else, because I don't want to get in pieces. Because what happens is, subconsciously you make the other person pay for the wrongs that they didn't do. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't want to do that.
That's very true. I always say on this panel, or whenever I'm speaking to people in general, I always say I never want to pay for another woman's or another man's crime. They did it, let them do that time. And if they are not present to do that time, then you get to a place where you can heal. So no one has to be designated to that time of your grief, your pain, because divorce and a breakup of a relationship has a grieving process.
Absolutely.
And I don't believe that cycle where people be like, oh, well, to get over somebody is to get on top of somebody else. No, that's not, that ain't my makeup. My makeup, because I'm a one heart girl. So if I love you, it's you. I'm a one heart girl. Okay. And so I have to get you, I got to detox you out my system so I can be able to move on to the next, thing in life. I can't just be like, okay, well, let me talk to him so I can stop thinking. No, you can't do that. And so you are right with the compromising. Sometimes we compromise so much, but you got to ask yourself, why were you compromising? Were you healed, or were you still in broken fragments when you were compromising? And 9 out of 10, you're compromising like that because there's a void you are attempting to fulfill. And you're unrealistically trying to fill that void with a person that may not be a part of your future.
Right. Because what we do is just like if you broke your leg, the crutch, it helps you walk. So essentially, you're not healed though, but you might can walk good with that crutch. So then we forget like, no, but my leg is really messed up, but I'm walking good with this crutch. So I'm good. No, you have to heal. And that's what I think a lot of times we do. We jump to the next relationship and it feels good for the moment. It's the crutch. So like, okay, I'm walking again. But then eventually that crutch it ain't gonna serve that purpose no more. Now you're gonna really have to deal with the pain. And I think that's what we want. We avoid, men especially. I know me, I hate dealing with pain and have to feelings and all of that stuff. So we move on. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm good. I'm moving on. Nah, you got to stop and you got to deal with that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Accept your wrong. You know what I mean? Because I can point fingers and say, oh, she did this, she did that. But I played a role in it too. And that's a lot of times as men, just in general, we don't want to accept the fact that we wasn't perfect. We played a role in the breakup, whatever it was, we played a role in it. And I know for me, I know the role I played in it. I was busy doing everything else, the church, this, that, everything else, and then I got home. It was just like, well, whatever. I'm tired. I got to go to work, So all of that stuff played a part in what happened. So you gotta look at yourself and you gotta fix that thing from the inside out. So before we can point and say what this person did to us, like what role did we play in it? And a lot of us, we don't want to accept that. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate you for that, Josh, for being a counselor and in behavioral mental health and counseling couples as individuals and employees and all that. The biggest part is accountability and ownership. And a lot of times, and responsibility. And a lot of times people don't want to take that. And a lot of people can't heal because they will not take ownership or accountability for what they've said, what they've done, how they treated a person, how they handle something, the outcome. The only time people want to take ownership when they've been exposed or they've been caught. Okay. And I think the healing part happens, like you said, when you could say, hey, I was a part of that. Like my divorce, I could, like you said, I could take ownership for my faculties in my marriage. I could take ownership and be like, hey, I was so caught up in being in ministry and making a brand for Anetta, but that I left my husband, on the sideline, like, hey, how you doing? I married you. How you doing? So, I could take ownership in that, and I could take ownership in missing the red flags that were telling me, hey, there's something going on here. Are you going to handle it? And I was just so caught up in denial and masking my pain that I never got to the place of understanding how to heal from the inside out.
Yeah, I know.
So,
those
Pastor
things are
Sean,
important.
what do you think
If
about
I could
that?
just, if I could just jump in and iterate something too. I think that we talk about compromise, we always look at it, and because we talked about we have 3 people here who are divorced, but there's the principle of compromise too, where compromise is often talked about in terms of the negative, but there's the positive compromise, because we all know that there's people who are what we believe that are who are perfect for us, and because we want the relationship to be perfect, we compromise. So compromise is not always something that is always totally negative about what we choose to do, but it can have its positive outcomes too, because relationships is always about give and take, and there's certain principles. The thing that has to drive us is, what is the principle of the compromise? Is it because I just feel like, is it my weakness why I'm compromising, or is it because I want to make sure the person who I love is genuinely happy? And sometimes having the ability to compromise in the relationship makes both of you happy. Okay. And then so we talk about the principle of compromise. Why am I here? What is the purpose of me compromising, with my better half? If I'm in a relationship where I'm not married to the person yet, is the compromise should be designed so that it binds us closer together. So we don't have this hard-headed area, or it's my way or no way, because it's about give and take. And I think that also goes over to which is, I guess, I think there's another segment that talks about the forgiveness, because when you deal with forgiveness, you got to deal with compromise too.
Absolutely.
And then compromising also, people think that compromising gives you less power in your relationship. In actuality, it's not about who has the power base, but it's about the wisdom that goes into it. Every battle is not worth fighting. Every battle is not worth the argument. Every battle is not worth, I'm leaving, I'm not coming back, and all these other things. And that's the importance of what, compromising will do on the positive side of the relationship as well. And we can talk all night about, why do we compromise? What is the driving factors of compromisation? And for me, it has always been so that the person who I'm in a relationship with, though our relationship is not perfect, that person could eventually be a you. And what allows me to be perfect in my way or her way or whatever way it might be is a simple fact of my willingness. I don't know what the compromise is, but just to say I'm willing to compromise.
Right.
And I know too, in relationships, an old guy told me when I first got married, he said, man, like, what did you do to get your girl? I'm list all this stuff. Oh, you do this, you do that. He said, man, you got to do all of that and more to keep it. And I think when we date, we master it. Friday night date nights. You call my phone. I don't care where I'm at. With the boy, I gotta go, man. Man, my girl. You know what I'm saying? We get married and then we get comfortable, right? And so we forget that stuff.
Yes.
We forget that stuff. We forget it, and right, and then we get real comfortable. And so, and I know for me, that was it. And as far as you said about the compromise, the stuff that I would compromise, I can't do this, you know, Friday nights is date night. This night, I let all that stuff go. I got comfortable in this, and I'm like, you know what, I'm good. I got her. We married now. You know what I'm saying? And we forget that the stuff, the
She locked
compromise,
in.
the stuff that we made. Yes, you locked in, but you gotta still do all of that. You gotta still do that. You gotta still date. And I think we that term date, we think that means once we get them, like we don't have to date them anymore. And it's like, no, you have to.
Yeah.
Man,
You
my
got to
daddy
keep that
taught.
fire burning.
Yeah.
You got to.
My
You got
daddy
to.
always taught me, exactly. You got to treat your wife like your girlfriend.
Listen.
You got to keep the romance burning, keep the fire going.
Yeah.
Because one of the
Y'all
worst things I think that we
y'all
should ever
ladies
do.
hear this? Y'all hear
And
this?
honestly, that was one of my biggest mistakes.
Mhm.
I'm a gift giver. That's one of my love languages. I love to do random gifts. And I'm
Me
telling
too.
you, dating, I mastered that. Just random. You come home, flowers. I mastered that. Man, I got married. We had a kid. It's like, man, I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I'm getting off work. I'm coming home. We got the baby. Seriously. And life happens, and you allow life to come in, and then and that's all the devil need is just this much, man, and that little wedge. And then once the separation happen, it's a wrap. That little bit, and it starts small.
Right.
I could tell you the exact. I remember it
Right.
like just day. I seen it happening. My son was little. She would lay him in the bed. I'm a big guy. I said, you know what? I don't feel comfortable laying in the bed with my son in the bed. So instead of me just putting the crib together, I said, you know what? Y'all sleep in the bed, and I'm gonna go sleep in the other room. Right? And that it was that, and the spirit behind that was genuine. It wasn't that I was trying to, but that space apart. Then it went from a day, a week to now. 4 or 5 months down the road, I'm comfortably sleeping in another room
On the couch. You
know what I'm saying? What
Yep.
started as me doing this, just thinking that, all right, she gonna have the baby. I don't want to roll over. You hear stories about people roll over on the baby and all that stuff. And I thought I was doing something good, but that little crack, and it just turned into it just went from there, and it got worse. So
yeah, that's called the unknown separation.
Yeah.
Unknown separation is what they call it in mental health. And so what happens in that, I think a lot of couples go through that, where they don't have the consciousness at that time to recognize that there is a separation happening before them. So a lot of couples kind of like move, like you said, you get up, you're going to work, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're at church, you're this, that, you're with friends, you're doing this, and you make it time for everything else in that 24-hour window. But then your spouse, your loved one, your partner is sitting there like in the water going, hey, I'm drowning. Don't you see me? Yeah. And the life jacket is right there, but you don't see it because you're caught up with everything else outside of the house.
Yep.
So we want to talk to you tonight about that, so people don't get into that place, that you get into a place that you see the red flags in your relationship, in your marriage, and you have the ability to say, hey, wait a minute, I'm a part of that problem. Let me check, reflect. Let me look at some self-reflection. Let me look at myself. Let me be accountable, be responsible, take ownership, and say, hey, I need to shift some things around. I need to change the way I'm thinking. I need to change the way I'm moving. So even in the midst of that, when you guys said all of this about compromising, you saying compromise, some compromises are good compromising, which I do agree with you on that, Pastor Sean. Some compromises are good compromises. You got to look at yourself in the mirror, especially when somebody's been single for so long, and then you get into this relationship, and then you're sitting there and the person like, oh, well, I don't really like going there. And you like, well, that's why I like going. You got to compromise with that person. If they don't like, going to certain places, then you have to look at the mirror and say, hey, this is not what I want to do, because this is not making him or her comfortable. So I need to do something different. So when we talk about the compromise, let's also talk about rejection. Nobody likes rejection.
No.
Sure.
Absolutely no one likes rejection.
No.
I personally, I could see a man that I like and I'm interested in, but because I don't want to be rejected, I will walk away from the opportunity of speaking to that person.
Absolutely.
And I will take that. I take that L. I take that L too, because I don't like rejection. And I think it bothers me, not more than anyone else, but I eternally beat myself if I feel like I'm going to be rejected or I've been rejected.
As men, we play. Huh? We play like I said, as men, we play like it don't hurt. We don't care. We don't like rejection either. And so, in my younger days, in my playing days. That's why you
Your
keep.
play days, Josh.
That's why you keep multiple situations, right?
Yes.
So
Back
if
up.
I am rejected, it's cool. Boom, I can move on because I got another situation over here. And that's where that comes from. So it's like, I'm never going to be in a position of, alone or broke or hurt because I can just boom, boom, boom. I got options. But that's where for me, that's where that mentality came from. Because like I don't want to be rejected. I can't be rejected. You know what I'm saying? And so then we in our minds, I'm the man. I'm cool. I can't. But no one likes to be rejected, and it's the same thing. You'll see females, man. She out my league. I'm not even gonna approach her or whatever, and it could be the one.
Right,
but
right.
I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? Or you shoot your shot, as they say, and then try to like laugh out. Well, I know me. I shoot my shot, but I'm gonna laugh out of it. You know what I'm saying? Ha 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 ha. I'm just playing. Because the reality is, I don't want. I'm telling all my secrets. So because I don't want to really have to deal with that.
Right. But Josh, you said something that was very important. You said that one of the things that you have to remember is that there is the rejection with the acceptance. Okay. Because you got to remember that we ain't always everybody's type. I'm 6'5", 370 pounds. Guess what? There's some girls who may not like big boys. And then there are some beautiful thin women who love big boys, right? And there are some women who might be on a larger plus side who may not like big boys. I'm just giving you examples. So there is rejection because there are types, and you may not always fall in that person's type of person that they may like. Just like there are women who don't fall in your type. Just like and you never know. And you talk about that when people say, "Oh, she is out of my league" or "he is out of my league." That is one place where I think that it's all about the fulfillment of the person. Relationships are based in three different ways, primarily spiritually, physically, and mentally, right? And so the first thing that gathers us in is that law of attraction. Am I right? That's for me. If I'm going to, bring myself to talk to you or to ask you out or to get to know you, it is because something attracts me to you. But when I go in, I have to go in with the knowledge base and the acceptance level that person may not like me back. And if I keep pressuring and pressing, that becomes an obsession. And so in terms of the fact about, I think we don't like rejection because ego, and also we don't have the acceptance level of knowing that somebody has the ability to say, hey, I no disrespect intended, but it's just not there. And you have to be okay with that. Because there are those days where, and Josh, you know this from used to be a player, you know this, there are those days where you're like, I can't even believe I hollered at her and got that number. You see what I'm saying?
How I do that one?
how did I do that one? You see what I'm saying?
See, we don't, us women, we don't deal on that level. We don't deal on that level. We don't be like, oh, how I get that one. Maybe it's the women I be around.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this from a woman. How do y'all deal on the level? I want to know. I want to know.
Well, first of all, I can say personally for me, and I only can speak for myself, I don't never, ever, ever approach a man. I don't care if I find him super attractive, I'm feeling him, I'm never going to approach a man. I like to be pursued, okay? I like to be pursued. Okay. I like to be dated, and that's how I am, okay? And that's how I move. But even my girlfriends that I be around, I don't ever hear a conversation. We talk a lot because I do a lot with dating and relationship. I don't hear anyone talk about, well, how did I get that number? How did I get him? We don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? And then you also got to keep in mind, for every man, there's 10 women. Okay. So that may be a reason why we don't do it as well, because it's more y'all than it is of us. But I just know the women I hang around with, we have a type of confidence of, yo, you gonna approach me? We gonna, my biggest thing I have now in life is I have a new word that I use for everything. I'm not interested. Any man that approached me, that's my word. Not interested. Not interested.
I will say this, that all rejection is not bad, though.
No.
Because I know some females, and as one lady in particular, we really liked each other, but I was trash. and it was like, yo, Josh, I really like you. I think you cool, but yo, nah, you not. Because had I got with her, like I would have messed it up big time. Like I know I would have. Because of where my mental state was and all of that. So had she gave me that shot, I would have lost a friend. Definitely the relationship wouldn't have worked. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the rejection is not a bad thing, because are you ready to deal with this person? Especially if you're if and men, we mess up where you meet a woman and they're dating to marry, and you dating to what you dating to do in a marriage. And so
you dating to smash, and they dating with a purpose, and you dating with a peace of mind.
You know what I'm saying? So she may reject you, and it's not that she don't want you, she's not interested in you, she's not attracted to you. That's not the reason. It's just that what I want and what you want is two different things. And I know for me, being rejected in that way, it has helped, because I know for a fact with this young lady, I was nowhere near ready to be what she wanted, and it would have ended horribly. And like I said, I would have lost a friend. It would have been just a bad situation, because I was going to still do what I was going to do. I wasn't ready for that level of commitment that she wanted. Right. And so we have to be honest with ourselves when we're in the dating process of what are you dating for? So when you meet somebody, what are you just here for a friendship or whatever, just hang out, a chill buddy, just somebody to talk to, or are you really dating with the interest of marriage, or are you dating with the interest of us being together in a long-term thing? Purpose. And if you can get that out in the open sooner than later, it'll keep from wasted time and broken heart, because 3-4 years on the road, she thinking we going one way, you just like, nah, that ain't what I want. Right. So you got to be upfront with that. You got to be real with what's your intentions on, and even dating or getting to know somebody.
And it's funny you said that, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, why do everybody keep saying dating with a purpose? What the heck is that? What's the whole point of that? Mm-hmm. And I was attempting to break it down, like dating with a purpose is because some people want to get married. Some people do not. I'm in that scope where I don't want to get married. Unfortunately, I meet men that I date, and they be like, oh, I'm going to put a ring on it. And I'll be looking like, no. Yeah. But you got to know where your headspace is at. I tell people all the time, they be like, well, are you still broken? No, I'm not broken. It's just that I did 30 years. Okay. So now I'm at a place where I never dated, openly. I never had a single life. So now I'm just enjoying the singlehood, the single life. And do I look in the future and see that I will have companionship in a relationship? Oh, yes, I do. But for right now, no, I ain't running down nobody's aisle. Do nothing. Right. And I want to be back in the same situation. And you got to be honest. You got to know where you are. You are. Like you said, Josh, you got to know where you are. You got to be upfront. Dating for what? When you saying I'm dating somebody, what's the reason you're dating them for? Are you dating because you want a friendship, or are you dating because you want somebody to hit the sheets with, or are you dating because you want to get married? You need to have, everything has an aim and has a position.
Yeah, you got to have a scope. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got, and you got to understand too, when you talk about, why am I dating? Am I dating with purpose? What is the scope of this relationship and where we are? And I think you have to, I think that you can set these lines from the beginning, but then you have these things called feelings. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And I have learned, I don't care who you are, whether you be a woman or a man, you could be dating somebody for weeks on end and then go out and see them with somebody else. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so you have to understand what is the scope of the dating process. And like you said, where am I? And you can lay these boundaries from the beginning, but sometimes, let me tell you what I believe. I think that sometimes you got to jump in with all. Okay, then you got to go in with, sometimes you got to go in without a plan. I like you, you like me, I want to see where it goes. And we call that going with the flow. Because sometimes, especially, and I think that sometimes we date with this checkbook list or check mark list. Do they have this? Do they have that? Are they going to meet? Are they going to meet these needs? And sometimes I think we need to go and we talk about red flags, and we know what red flags are, those negative instances where people can jar certain things in us. But I think more importantly, sometimes if there's somebody that you genuinely like who is giving you a sense of balance, we don't always have to go in with a plan. Whether I'm just dating permanently or dating to marry or dating to be whatever it might be. But the scope is to allow yourself, and this is the part, and we as men always admit this, we've got these walls up too. Men have these walls up because men don't want to be emotionally responsible or accountable to anybody. That's the problem. But that's a subject for another day. But the moment that you want to become accountable and responsible to somebody emotionally, I think that we will open up more to see where the dating will lead us as opposed to where we're trying to take it to.
So I have a question, Pastor Sean. If you don't want to be
Yes.
responsible and accountable for somebody, and I'm not saying you personally, even though
Sure, right.
if you don't want to be responsible,
I don't mind.
that's a little side joke. Okay, if you don't want to be responsible and accountable to anyone, then why date? Why date? I always ask that question.
Right. Sure. And I think that comes to you it's like anything. We want to put labels when it comes to the companionship of male and female relationships. Sometimes it's best to say we just friends who go out and kick it from every now and again. Or we go have dinner every now and again. Because what dating is, it puts this mental, it puts this psyche on us that we're dating and that we're in a non-negotiable phase. Okay. Dating is a negotiable phase, but when we enter in it, this is non-negotiable. I'm just seeing, and we're going to be exclusive. Okay. So you have to set those things. So when you talk about being accountable and responsible, that only goes to the pragmatism of being pragmatic to the terms of it. I'm committed to you. If I'm not committed to you, my responsibility to you is only to make sure you safe that when we out. Okay. Or to keep my word to you when we're out. But if I'm in a commitment process with you, then yes, I do have to be responsible and accountable for you and to you, and vice versa, because you have expectations, and your expectations that you have for me is based upon my actions to you.
So do you guys think in this current phase of life right now, this cycle that we're going through, that people have commitment issues? They don't want to be committed. People are comfortable being in their current situation, in the situation of just moving in that capacity. Do you agree with that, or you see it differently?
I agree with it. People have commitment issues. I myself have struggled with the commitment thing. Not because I want to be a player or something like that, but dating, the process of dating and all of that, that's a lot. And it's just like mentally, can I handle that right now? You know what I'm saying? With life and everything going on, what I'm doing, what I'm dealing with, is like, is that something that I want to really commit myself to? So, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like we don't want to commit because of we want to be players or something like that. Sometimes we just don't mentally. I'm just not in that space to be able to do that right now. So I wouldn't willingly get into a situation with a young lady and she's expecting that commitment, because I know right now I can't give that. I can't give that. Life right now it's just too much. Me and Netta talked about it the other day. Like, I got a full-time job, two kids, taking care of my parent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't have the commitment to give right now. So
right,
you have to be honest with that. But I wouldn't waste female's time into having her believe that, oh, I'm gonna be committed, I can do this, I can do that, when I know for a fact right now I can't. So I'm not even gonna put myself out there, you know what I'm saying, to let you down with that expectation, because I can't give that right now.
Yeah, and
thank you. I just want to throw in real quick. We have the other panelists here. They just bum rushed my house. Hi. So we are here. We are here. You can't see us all in here. I'm gonna try to see how we can see this. There we go. Hi.
Sorry, I'm late.
So that's Pastor Sean, and that's Josh over there, Josh the man. So I just want to make sure we can see all the panelists that we are here in the house. So we're just talking about dating with purpose. You know, we drive off in another conversation. So the guys were talking about the purpose, and Pastor Sean had broke down like 3 areas of what a relationship is, right? And the dating is. Right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual, mental, and spiritual, mental, and emotional.
You don't think physical? You don't think physical in there?
Physical, physical. Yeah, absolutely physical. Physical also deals with the emotional.
If I don't like the
too.
way you look, I can't date you.
Right, and that's why I was saying that physical also deals with the emotional, because physical will determine how you feel when you see somebody. Because of course, what takes over our mind when you see somebody, what comes into play, and that you start daydreaming immediately. So we have those. We talked about those things, and I think to kind of reiterate at a point that Josh made about where he said he wasn't ready for commitment because of some of the pressures that life were bringing him. That's important to talk about. But Josh, that goes back into commitment, because you're 35 and I'm 42, and I'm in a stage in my life now where everybody in my family depends on me. My mother is aging. My grandmother is 81 years old and needs my full-time care. I've got teenage and adult children in college who are working full-time jobs. So we're spread in every direction. But the problem is when we don't have time for the commitment, is that you're losing out on yourself too when you don't make that commitment. Because believe it or not, there's somebody who wants to commit to you with all the pressures of your life that you have. And that's what the Bible talks about on the spiritual side. It talks about the helpmate. And a lot of times as men, we don't want to admit that we need help in particular situations.
That's why y'all need help. That's why they brought us from y'all ribs, because y'all needed help.
Exactly.
And women be acting like they don't need help. I need mine.
So
yes,
and
we do need help.
Yeah, because that's how we raised. We raised, you handle it. You're a man, like you know what I mean. You get up, you make it work. So to be that vulnerable with a female, like I really need help. Like I'm struggling with this. That's a hard thing to learn. And to trust even someone with that much of you.
But vulnerability is a part of the intimacy of a relationship.
Absolutely.
If you can't be vulnerable, then you're not going to have anything else, because vulnerability makes you be the most genuine person. Because I'm going to see you in your weakness. I'm going to see you in your strength. Yes. I'm going to see you in your happiness. I'm going to see you in your brokenness. I'm going to see all that in the vulnerability. And when you don't give that vulnerability to the person that you are supposed to be intimate with, then you're giving them a falsehood of you.
Right. But and also, everybody shouldn't see that part of you.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Everybody shouldn't see that part of you. A vulnerability to be staged somewhere, somebody that you think that we can go somewhere. And everybody you meet should not be the one.
I mean, that also goes back to what Pastor said, spiritual. Because if we seek God in all things, it says, guard your heart with diligence. So you're only gonna go but so far. He's only gonna take you but so far with the person that you're not supposed to be with. So you have to always put him first in all things. And a lot of people, you have to pray for your mate, pray about your mate. God knows what we need. He said he knows what we need even before we ask. So the problem now is people, that's what we said last week, they don't date to collect the data and get to know. They don't take it before God and place it before his feet. Is this the person I'm supposed to be with? And or they let that person get slipped by because they're hiding things and or don't want them to see the real them. Because but you have to, at some point, you have to let your guard down and, show who you are.
Yeah, we talked about walls earlier.
And I know for a lot of times for me, we don't go to God with stuff because we know good and well.
He gonna say no?
You know good and well. I can meet a person and talk to you for 10 minutes and know whether or not this is even worth further conversation. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes you can get the people, they'll pull the wool over your eyes, but most of the time that red flag, that joint pop up real early you know, and so we're not going to God.
It don't even be a red flag.
It's not even a red flag that we're not compatible.
It's there,
that's not a red flag.
But we in it, like we said earlier, we in it for whatever it is that we in it for, you know, and so we're not going to go to God because we know this ain't what you need to be doing. This is not for you. This is not what God has for you. But it's for us. It's feeding our flesh at the moment, so we get comfortable with it, and so
it could be vice versa too.
Yeah, it's a temporary filler. And I asked somebody the other day, I said, you need to know your position with the person. Am I just fulfilling a void? Absolutely. Am I a temporary filler for you? Or am I somebody that you're potentially looking at to be a part of your future? And if you don't, good evening, Frederick. Good evening, Frederick. And if I know what I am, then I know how to handle it appropriately. Okay.
Right.
But if I don't know who I am with you, then I'm gonna handle it accordingly on how I see it.
Well, not even that. Ask them what you looking for. You know, if I give you my time, the first thing I want to know when you're in my face, what you looking for, what you want. Like, not in a bad way, but usually if you ask men what are they looking for, what's their agenda, they'll tell you. I'm just looking for a friend. I'm looking for my wife. I'm just looking for.
She's so assertive.
Not even that. I ain't saying it like that. See, that's just it. People think that the attitude or how I carry myself to men that I'm not interested in is how I act with men I'm interested in. I'm a whole different animal. I'm very submissive if I'm liking you, but I'm a whole different woman when I'm handling business and dealing with, you know, men in general. I'm down to the point, but you know what? I know how to back up and shut up, but I ain't got to shut up to you because we are having a conversation that it's not us. We just doing business or whatever. But I said that to say that if you ask a man, what's your agenda? What's your angle? I think that's a question that you should ask when somebody is trying to date you. And they would definitely tell you what's going on. So you don't get no assumptions. You don't think like, you know what? Well, he called me every day and he must like me. Maybe he bored. Maybe you are a filler. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he don't gonna do nothing. I mean, I've did that. I've called somebody and then talked to you all day, but I don't be wanting to go nowhere. Maybe I was bored. Or, you know, for real. Let's be real.
No, but that's real.
So that's why, as far as me, I could talk to you all day for months, and then you let's go out on a date. What? Like, but I didn't.
And part of that is because and me and you agreed how we move. A part of that is because we put people in position.
And we put them in categories.
Yeah. So I will friend zone you. I will brother you. I will sir you. I will potential you. I'm that person. I will put you in a category.
And you will
I also will put you in that right.
Well,
I don't waver when I put you in there.
Go ahead.
What is the point of dating if y'all not? If you don't want to be married, if you not,
we ain't say that.
Else, no, I'm just saying in general. What she said. I'm just saying, like, what is the point? Because we talking about relationships, but at the end of the day, if it's not to date to marry,
absolutely,
like if it's not to date to be committed,
that's called
what
kicking
are
it.
you dating for?
Absolutely,
that's kicking it.
We spending time together.
Yeah. We
kicking it.
That's not dating.
That's not dating.
But like we talked about earlier,
that's my homeboy.
But we talked about. But what we talked about earlier, when you talk about kicking it, though, there's going to come a point in time where somebody's feelings is going to get involved.
Absolutely.
And you can make like your phone.
If it's not discussed openly.
Even if it's discussed, somebody's feelings gonna get. I didn't have somebody say, "Oh, I don't want to be around me either." We just kicking it, and then eventually somebody start liking somebody because they spending more time with them. You getting used to them. You getting to know them. They all in your personal space. You start to develop feelings. I don't care.
Let him not call you that day or her call you that day.
Yeah, right. It's over.
Let that person, the person as the sister described earlier, I could talk to you every day for months. Let him not call you or text you for a day. You're going to wonder like,
that's different. If I put you in a category as a friend, if we could talk, then that's different because most of my male friends know that I'm single. So if I call them and be like, let me talk to you, we can handle that. We can do that. But if I'm liking somebody, then that's a whole different animal than who I am. First of all, I'm not going to be on the phone with y'all. I'm going to let you breathe. Because I want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to let you breathe.
And that's what they start liking you a little bit more. And what happened to get cuckoo, right?
Well, because I don't know what they do.
I always say it is a different breed. It's a totally different breed of men and women and dating and all that stuff. Because my thing is, it's also what you attract. Okay, I say that all the time. Like, I tend to attract men that kind of want commitment. And then I also tend to attract men who just want me to be their homegirl. I'm the download for them.
I don't even get download like that, so I don't know what I attract.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm so tunnel vision. Like, you got to say, excuse me. I'm like, oh.
And then I attract the men that just be like, yo, I want to hit the skins. And I be like, nope, deuces, bro. Because there's more to me than that.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm very versatile in what I attract, but I'm also very conscious about what I want.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you pray for those things?
What I'm waiting for.
I didn't hear you.
I said, do you all as women, do you pray for what you're attracting? Because that's important. I think that if you ask God to put particular people in your way and allow that to be your options. A little while ago, Josh, if you remember, we talked about when we were, as you so-called players or whatever you want to call it, that we talked about that we're so easy to jump in and out because we have this thing called options. But when we talk about on the spiritual prayerful level is to ask God to put options that can give us a choice to really make, because we're talking about putting people into categories is okay until you discover what you really want. And so then you only get one category now, and that category is to determine pretty much who I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And when you go into the fact about and start asking God to put people in my way who are going to not only be a good partner, a good person, a good companion, a good husband, a good wife, person that I can trust. When you ask God to put those type of people in your way, the whole phase about, me meeting somebody who just want to hit, or me meeting somebody who just want to waste my time, or who just want to go to a movie or just go out to eat, he'll begin to remove those people and give you genuine people that you will be able to choose from. And guess what? He'll send you somebody that want to take interest and who you want to make your life partner and give you no commitment to. And that's what's important, because my age now, where I am at in life, is that I'm certainly beyond the jokes, the riddles, and the games. Okay. Right. And I think the sister earlier alluded to, I'm asking you, what is it that you want? But I don't want to make it seem like I'm planning our every move, because sometimes things are going to get in the way of our moves. And when something doesn't go right or how we plan, we get upset by it. We get discombobulated by it. We get disjointed by it, as opposed to moving with the flow of the spirituality of the relationship. And we have it. So we have to pray and ask God to set people in our way that are real, viable options for us.
We listening. These chicks over here is crazy.
Well, not even that. I think you know what I've learned? I've learned that you got to become what you want to attract. Like, I don't want a man that's in everybody's face. I want somebody that's conservative, that's settled, that ain't always on the scene, that's living for God and minding their business. So I do that. I'm not on the scene. I am, if you catch me, it's like, hey, where you been? So I have learned to become what I want. You know what I'm saying? So my name ain't on the miles of different men or I tried to get with her. I'm not even want to go on a date with you if I don't like you. Like he said, the first 10 minutes, if I give you the time of day, the first 10 minutes, I know if we're going to go another 10. And, my friends say, you give people 72 hours. And I'll be like, that's all you take, especially when you walk in this walk with God. I don't have to date 5 or 6 different dudes to see who I'm the one. I'm not that smart. God, let me know what's going on. And It should be such a attraction, not just physically, but a spiritual connection, that it would be no undoubt that, this something is going on. Something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? That you would have with no other. And that's so true. I really believe that. So I just think you attract what you become, what you want. And I don't want nobody all up under people's comments, hey, beautiful, and you on my phone. That's annoying. Or you loving everybody's picture.
Right, or you sending a good morning, beautiful, good morning, lovely to everybody.
That goes to the point of that goes to the point of with men, like we say we want a wife, but are we ready to be a husband? And then we throw the scripture around that God said that to Adam that man shouldn't be alone. But if you read the verses above that, Adam had a job, he had duties, he had things that he was in charge of, things that he was in charge over, and that man shouldn't be alone. And so it's like, as men, until we become that man, the man that God wants us to be, we need to be alone. Because
Absolutely.
what we do is we get in relationships like, it's better to marry than to burn. We should, and then we end up hurting people, getting into marriages that we have no business getting in.
That's good.
But see,
but we ourselves are not. We're not ready to be husbands.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so once you learn that, and I said that with me, I knew I thought I was ready to be a husband. I thought I was doing the right thing, 24 years old, but no, I was not. I was not ready to be a husband. I should have never gotten married, but I thought I did the right thing. So it's like, now I'm in a space in my life that, before I get out there again, I want to make sure that I'm in a position where God wants me to be, that my heart is where I need to be, that I can be a husband, a provider, all of those things that I should be before I go and tell myself I want to marry somebody.
And that's wisdom. That's very smart. And only true a couple of men know that about themselves. The Bible talks about how a woman is supposed to be submissive to a man that's be led by God. Because I'm not going to be no submissive to nobody who God ain't leading. Because I know
I think
that's a good point that you said.
We throw that word submissive around, and we think we make submissive become a thing of I'm strong, you're weak.
No,
but that's not what submissive means. But when you're a godly man and a godly woman, she'll automatically submit.
Absolutely.
You because of the man that you are, the way that you carry yourself. You're the Lord of your home. You know what I'm saying? So you would never have to, when you're dealing with a godly woman, you would never have to have that conversation of, oh, you need to submit to me, to do this. My father used to say all the time, if you got to tell somebody that you're the head of the house,
amen. Yeah, right.
If you got to make that clear, when the boss come in the job, if you ain't never been there before, the person in charge walk in the door, everybody know,
right?
So we learn that, and then we get ourselves in order to make sure that we can be that person that we are supposed to be before we connect with somebody else. And that's one of the lessons that it took me a long time to learn that, but I learned it. That's why I'm by myself, because got to get me right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is my thing. I've always said this. With dating someone, it comes with all of their casualties. It come along with all of their, flaws and all. So when people when I hear people say, well, I got to get me right. So when do you know when you're right? When do you know that you are ready for dating? You're ready to be in somebody's life. You're ready to be, because this is my thing. If you know you're not ready, don't entertain nobody.
Absolutely.
And I know people say, don't say that. Why could you? If you know you're not ready to migrate to a relationship, you're not ready to have something with some substance or purpose, then don't entertain the other opposite sex, because with time, with intimate conversations, with time spent, there is going to be some attraction and some dependency of being connected to you. And if you're not ready for that, then don't engage with somebody and give them the falsehood of that possibly being something.
Absolutely. We said that earlier. But that comes from.
That's a fact.
But you avoid that when you start dating someone. We ask, what are we doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to stay in a situationship or whatever it is. We going on dates. We doing this weeks and weeks, and you don't never ask that question like, yo, what is this? What are we doing here? And what happens is we settle for the no titles, none of that. And as a man, like, yo, if you tell me that we can do whatever and we don't got to put no title on it, ain't no man gonna voluntarily be like, oh no, they're gonna say, oh, okay.
No, it's some men out here now that will be with you without the titles. But I've learned
you got to say that early. Like, no, I'm not wasting my time. This is what I'm looking for. And if you want to be connected with me, this is what it has to be. This is what we're moving towards. Mm-hmm. And so as a man, if we know that up front, I'm not going to waste your time because this is what you want. But if you don't say that, and you just get in a situation and you just like, well, eventually, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Eventually it'll turn into years, and then you'll be in it for 7 years looking back like, yo, where did my time go? Waiting on a...
You almost end up in a situation where it's almost like being lonely in a crowded room almost.
Right.
Like when you talk about it in terms of, it sounds like we're asking, there's a difference between an application and a resume. And that's what it almost sounds like in terms of, we're asking people to put in application, we asking others to put in resumes who we're going to give more attention to. You asked the question, how do you know when you're genuinely ready? It is not based just about my financial situation or my commitment that I have to my own personal family and life development, but more so is can I give you my total focus and my total attention in terms of the relationship? Because if somebody is genuinely interested in you, they're going to allow you time to focus on other important parts of your life. Okay, then they will allow you to do that. And get right back, exactly. And so,
Pastor Sean, if somebody is totally into you, they will make the time for you.
Yes, exactly.
And they will also pursue the interest of you. But if they're not into you and they don't do those two things, then you need to run like Forrest Gump with the braces falling off. Okay,
and that's
that person is not. He does not, or she does not value you enough to know the substance of you and understand the importance of you and understand the genuineness of you. And that's what I'm trying to get past to the ladies and to the men. If someone cannot value and see the worth in you enough to know how important, I am so wonderful and important,
the application of the resume
be a tremendous asset to your life. But because you don't view me as an asset, I'm not about to sit here and show you an asset. There is no bank that sit there and say, hey, we're here for you because we're an asset. Banking commercials are not as often as it is sexual commercials.
No.
Okay.
No.
We got so many sensual commercials to seduce you with this, seduce you with that. Banks ain't gonna seduce you because you know why? Because they get your money from other areas. And that's how relationships have to be. You got to be in a place that you know who you are, you know your value, you know you're an asset, and you know that without a shadow of a doubt. So when that person, he or she, comes into your life, you better know I'm a gift.
Exactly.
And one thing I think from a man's perspective too, what you said, knowing your value and knowing your gift. I think sometimes as men, we lessen our value. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to get to the point where, like, just as a woman, just as
the negative
time
compromise.
is valuable, you know what I'm saying? So my time is valuable too. And so I think we need to once we understand that and we both value each other's time and all of that. But and another side to it, like Sister Netta said, but where your treasure is, that's where your heart is at. So if I'm interested in you, I'm gonna make time for you. As busy as life is, life is, I know I want to be on this Zoom. And when she sent me the link, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to make time to do this. 15 other things I could have been doing today, but I made time because this is something that I wanted to do. And so it's the same thing with a relationship. If you really want to do this, if you really want to be with this person, I don't care what you got to do, you're going to make time.
Exactly. And that's important. You cannot be afraid to set aside time.
And that's where the sentence come in. What's understood don't need to be explained. Exactly. So the closure part, I don't understand why people want closure. If they not calling you or texting you or getting with you, it's understood that they don't want to. Why do you need them to explain it? Do you want them to call you and tell you they're not doing it? It is what it is, and keep it pushing. Right. Why would you sit there? What I look like calling somebody like, why you ain't call me? Why you not? I'm the favor here, okay? I'm not running nobody down like, hey, get your favor. That's just like you. I'm working for you, and I ain't come get my check. You gonna be going to my church, coming to my house, looking for me like, girl, you forgot your check? No, you gonna like she forgot her check. So so people wanting closure. It takes too much longer. The closure is it is what it is. And, people don't want to that. Well, what happened? It don't make a difference what happened. It didn't go nowhere. Right. There's nothing that you could do but do a self inventory of you and not say, and be bitter about it. You know what I'm saying? They don't get no closure or what has happened? That happened. it doesn't make a difference. You don't need closure. The closure is they ain't messing with you.
Right. Well, from a male's perspective, if I've ever
that's raw
broke up with a female,
is it true though?
If I ever said I wanted closure,
my brother finishes, I'll respond.
If as a man, if I ever said I wanted closure and a woman was done, it's because I wasn't finished with whatever we were doing. And so
I know,
you're trying to move on. You're trying to move on, and I'm not ready to move on. So I know
even if you not trying,
I need closure game. You know, I can string this along a little longer. So, let's just go out. Let's go sit down and have a drink. Let's talk about it. Because I know if I stay in your company long enough, I might can talk my way up on dealing with you for longer than it should be dealing. So we played the closure piece. We know what it is. You don't need no closure.
But my thing is that
keep it going.
See, and that's where you're compromising your self-confidence at. Because see, when you're confident, you're not confident in your abilities. You're confident in the God that you serve. He ain't gonna let you just be with anybody. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody closed the door on you, you say, God, I know what's best. You know what's best for me. It might hurt, but you is not trying to kick the door down like the popo. You like, you know what I'm saying? You like, oh, okay, I understand. So
somebody said Josh is on point.
The closure part is even if you're not finished, if the other person is finished, oh, bro, you finished.
Come on, let's be honest.
And then now what you're doing is you're compromising yourself, because when you're not finished with somebody and they finish, now they're gonna make you double dutch, do what they want you to do, send you to places, do stuff. Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to double dutch and do what they do because they're really trying to degrade you to get you out, then now you're mad and bitter because you allow them to dog you. So you have to take accountability for the part that you played. And if they said it was over, or they didn't call you back, or they ghost you, however it went, you got to accept that and move on. I'd rather hurt one good time than keep opening up the wound and you gonna keep throwing salt on me. Just as soon as I think I'm healed, here you come busting the scab right back open. We're not gonna do that. Right? Yeah, so closure is another way of saying, yo, that means if you need closure like that, I need to get in closer with God, because you need to help me. My confidence so rooted in Christ that whatever come, it come, whatever go, it go. What I'm gonna do? How I'm gonna be mad about what God allowed?
So I'm gonna say this. I believe, and I'm gonna go on the behavioral mental health counseling piece.
Go ahead.
And I'm a minister as well, so I'm twofold. People need closure. Okay, people need closure. Okay, when I think about Jesus laying on the cross. Yes. Okay. Yes. And when I think about them taking him down and they putting him in the tomb and Mary went to look for him, she was looking for closure. Okay.
No, so people double check because they said
because she had grief.
Right. But it's still closure. And my thing is people need closure.
Because of grief.
Do you need it or do you want it? What do you want? Okay, so listen to this. This is a scenario.
Now, hold on, let me explain. Let me go further. The reason why people need closure is just like you needing forgiveness within yourself. People need closure because sometimes people need to solidify what they did and reflect back on how they can change. And sometimes that closure helps people get to a place of healing, of changing. Not so much the healing of the relationship, but a healing of changing. That means changing their mindset, changing how they think, changing how they process things, changing how they handle the next relationship, and changing how they handle you.
Okay.
So closure sometimes is so much needed. Now, do you get closure? No. Oftentimes you don't get it.
How long do you wait for somebody to give you closure before you go to male bashing or woman bashing?
It's not.
That's the next thing after you don't get closure.
It's not a waiting process because that goes along with the healing. Healing does not have a time when you're going to stop healing or when you're going to start healing. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know when you're going to get to your wholeness. All I can say to people is everything has time and a season. It's a time and a season for all things. And I get very leery when people say, oh, well, no, you should have this time. And this time is this time. And this time is this time. The only thing that has a sure time to anything is the time you were birthed into this world and the time you're going to leave. That's the only sure time. Okay. Everything else is not sure time. So that's why I say about dating, it should flow. It should be organic and it should flow with dating. We start putting all the time pranks and all of this stuff on dating, that's where it becomes confusing. A lot of women want to get married. They'd be like, well, I'm gonna date him for a year and then he got to propose to me. No, that should not be a time. If it's organic and the love is there and it's real and it's genuine, it could be 90 days. That's why I say don't work in the measurement of time.
Well, we're talking about closure. You're gonna wreck your brain trying to figure out why somebody else don't want to be with you. That's not logical.
That's not even closure no more.
Let me say this. Go ahead.
Let me say this right here. Whenever there's an ending to a relationship, there is a insurmountable or surmountable amount of grief that comes along with it. Okay. When people talk about divorce, a lot of times people will equivalate or equalize a death to a divorce. Okay. And there's a certain amount of grief. And what you're trying to do in the closure phase is rationalize where you went wrong at. No, it could be to be better in the next one. It could be to fix something within you. It could be because you're obsessed with, no matter what it might be, you have to rationalize to yourself. That's what the closure is all about, is to figure out, how did I get here and why are we here? Number one, because so many times is that we're trying to figure out and Josh, you said it, how do we talk ourselves back into, or how do we repair it? Okay. Is it repairable? That should be the first question always on our mind in any relationship that's been broken. Is it repairable? Some are, some are not. Then the other thing is that you have to be willing to know when to walk away, because that's the side of closure too, is I got to know when I'm able to walk away. Okay, then, because I'm not going to be able to get through to somebody's head. And guess what? Everybody's not going to be able to get through in your head either. All right. And so then you said something earlier, Annetta, you talked about Jesus and the whole death and the resurrection thing and all that stuff. The reason that occurs is, and the reason that there are questions is because there's a lack of understanding about why are we here. The other sister next, I forgot her name. I apologize, my dear beloved sister. But the other thing about it is we can say, oh, I'm just walking away. That might be good for you, but you do owe somebody explanation sometime why you just walk. I devoted, I committed.
Let's come from a person, because I'm the one that need closure. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
So for me, I can only speak for self. I need closure because I'm an overthinker. Not only that, well, I used to, because at this point now, I'm just like, okay, it is what it is. But I used to need it so much so that I would think what can I do better? What did I do? Why didn't want to talk to me? Is there something wrong? That's how it used to be. Now, because I've healed through so many different things, I'm okay with people walking away, and I analyze myself like, okay, did I try to do everything that I could have done to make the relationship, situationship, friendship better? If the answer is yes, it's always, I do self-reflection every single night. Is it something I can do better as a parent, as a friend, as a sister, as a mother, as a cousin? Is it something I could have did better today?
And you see
it's
how
always something. Absolutely. Even if it's just raising my voice at my children, man, I didn't have to do it like that. And or my friend, me and one of my friends just had I got offended and I didn't say nothing to her, because before I would have lashed out, like, why you say that? You ain't have to say that. But I took it to God in prayer, and the next day she apologized to me. And what I'm saying is, some people need that for their own mental sanity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if they used to be people pleaser, or it's just so many different levels. And for some people to just dismiss it like it's okay, that's not okay.
It's not. It's
not.
That's wrong.
See how your mental
that's not okay.
Shaking up about it. Right. You know, that's the part where things that I cannot change. See, I'm not a closure person, meaning that if I'm dealing with somebody and I'm not going to give you closure, we just drifted off. And even when somebody asks me closure, what you want me to be all rude to you and tell you why I really, I mean, do you really want somebody to tell you
aren't involved?
Really
like
you? But the thing of it is,
your feelings are probably not involved.
You know what?
No, I'm just saying for real. Some stuff they could be rude.
And I'm not knocking how you move, but I will say this. Normally, that is hurting people, because normally what happens, what you give out, is one day gonna come back to you.
Absolutely.
And you got to be able to chew it up just the way you give it.
Absolutely.
So my thing is, in any relationship, I always say your first relationship is with your mother and your father. And when those relationships have fragments, are broken, any relationship you try to enter into is going to have a fragment and broken because you have not established the first relationship.
When you say about closure,
and so go ahead, Josh.
You said telling people what they did wrong. Sometimes you need to hear that. And I know from myself, I was in a situation and it ended bad. And she told me, yo, you did this, you did that. And then I had to sit with that thing. And I had to really do some self-reflection like, yo, bro, you was dead wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and I want my mental space that's not going to evolve me to be better. I'm not going to think about it. If I lose $2,000 tonight, I'm not going to tear up my house and look for it when I find it. I mean, that's me. That's why we got our own different personalities here. Anything that takes up too much mental space where I'm worrying and I'm concerned, if it go, it's okay for me. So I'm not gonna, and that's just for me. That's just too much for me to be worried about what I did. Am I big enough? Am I small enough? Do I make much enough money? Or what I happened? He said, come on. I could be doing something with that.
Now,
energy.
Latanya Granberry said something on her. She said, sometimes you may understand, but the other person doesn't. So they are asking for closure, but really understanding as to why. I think everyone should be given closure. That's just my opinion. And I agree. Everyone should be given closure. When I was going through my divorce, I wanted to know why.
Oh, that's
on every aspect.
That's a mirror.
Okay.
We talking about
but
dating.
even in dating, I was dating a guy right after my divorce, and him and I knew why he was gay, but but his business was out when he was on the street. But I'm just saying,
he wrote that song, Anetta. He wrote that song.
I don't believe people.
But I'm just saying that sometimes you need that closure because the closure helps you in a part of your healing. Okay.
Definitely will.
I'm a person, I need closure.
I don't.
Because I don't like bad relationships. We know. I don't like bad relationships. Okay. I don't like bad relationships with anyone. So for any aspect, unless you just carry a spirit that I just choose not to battle, and I got some people like that is in my family, I'd be like, you know what?
That don't mean you're a bad person because you don't want closure.
No, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. I'm saying I'm saying for me personally, I gotta have closure, and I don't like bad relationships. I like to solidify relationships again because I told you I'm a category person.
Yeah.
So I put people in categories, and I would like to solidify things. And because I'm very loving, I'm very giving.
Yes,
I'm very, so I always want to put people in those categories so I know how to function properly with the person.
Too,
you know what I'm saying? But I need closure. I need closure. And if I feel like I'm like you also though, if I feel like you got a whole lot of game and a whole lot of mess and a whole lot of darkness with you, I don't need no closure. Bye, baby.
Well, not even that. You could be a good person. Like you said, you got to dish it out. So I don't give closure, so I don't expect closure. Right. I mean, we grown people who want to come up and tell you, like, listen, brother, such and such, you really don't know. You really can't preach. I really don't like that. You want me to come on? I ain't got time for all that. It's not working out.
Well, I guess I'm ignorant because I don't told men, you know what? I can't with you because
that's what you need.
You are a taker, and I am a giver, and I feel like that you are taking more than you are giving me.
I can give.
So I'm gonna go my separate ways because this is going to become very toxic and very, it's not good. And I want you to see a Netta. I don't want you to see Netta because Netta is not nice.
Come on here.
But let's reflect on a couple of things that you all said just a little while ago in terms about, I think number one is maybe she doesn't want the closure because her feelings are not involved. Okay. So we have to be.
Well, no, that's not true. Yes. because my feelings have been involved, and and when they left, I didn't get closure. I didn't say, well, what happened? Well, what do this and this and that? I mean, I'm a grown woman. You know, it is also a respect thing. But I mean, listen, it is what it is. I am completely one of them papers. We ain't beating around the bush. It's not gonna work out. It's understandable. But what you gonna tell me why it's not gonna work out? Because of this or that? I mean, is that gonna put us back together? Are we getting closure? Closure means that I want you to tell me the last things before you break up. It doesn't mean that we're going to talk about this and tell you something so we might can fix it.
She is 100%. Yeah.
Right. Well, exactly. And I think the term about closure.
We sorry.
I think the idea.
People are watching the show and they're texting me too.
Right. I think the idea behind closure is to make sure that the relationship or the situationship or the friendship finishes out in a holistic way, because you don't want to finish something where there's an anger behind it.
Absolutely.
Okay, then. Never. And a lot of times too, not only because there's an anger behind it, because there's a fear that comes along with it too. Oh, we're done, we're finished, we're over with. Because sometimes we talked about the term vulnerability earlier. So we become vulnerable, but sometimes we have a fear behind our vulnerability too. Like, oh, I don't want to know why he's done with me or why she's done with me or whatever it might be. But I just want to, you know what, we're out of here. I'm done with it. Okay. So if you have the ability to walk away so easily, you really have to assess how much were you really involved. And see, for me, I used to be like that. I had the capability of doing what I did. Say yes. It determines how much are you invested. And at 42, for me, I might be older than all of you. But the fact of the matter is,
you're not.
He is happy.
Now, Pastor Sean, you know you're not older than me.
Yeah. Well, I just look older than you. I'm
you are age. Continue.
But there's the fear factor, there's the anger factor, but then also too, what we have to sometimes we got to realize, sometimes, especially as a man, I realize you owe people an apology too. Josh, you said something way early in the conversation. You said, I haven't always been a good guy in a relationship. So you got to know back when to in AA, and when you deal with somebody, if you ever taught an AA class or dealt with people who have been on drugs, there's this word called, that word amends comes to make things right again, so that you don't leave something or you fix something that's been broken or whatever it might be. So I think that's where it comes to when you talk about the whole closure aspect. I don't need that. You can say you don't need, but you want it deep down inside.
And Tanya, I want to read some of the comments. Tanya said maybe closure is not the word, maybe it's understanding. And she said, like you said, what's understood don't have to be explained. The problem may be you understanding, but they don't.
Right.
And I was trying to say closure may be the wrong word to use. Right. We fixed it. And so understanding, and that's a key factor. And I think moving as adults, we got to work on our communication. We communicate horribly as adults. We have the most incomplete communication, unsatisfying communication, immature communication, one-way communication. Absolutely. And we don't know how to communicate because we're so quick to have a rebuttal or a respond. And that's why a lot of time men don't approach some of us women, because they already know you got a rebuttal, you got to respond, you an angry Black woman, you overly aggressive, and you coming. So they like, nah, I don't want to deal with all that because I ain't trying to, and men like peace.
Yeah. And not only that, that goes right to the next.
And sometimes, and I'm going to say this, sometimes we got to be honest with ourselves and say, am I really healed?
Yes.
Have I really forgiven? Because if I'm overly aggressive or I'm overly zealous about something that can be just a healing place for someone else, or something that can be in a place for somebody to get to a better place, I have to ask myself, our life is to be a help and to serve and to help. And if I have to give you an understanding / closure or whatever for you to get to a place to be able to do the same thing, to help and serve, then I have to give you that. And that's just like forgiveness. Forgiveness is more for us than it is for that person. So sometimes we got to look back at ourselves and say, hey, you know, have I been forgiven? Am I in a place to forgive?
Yep.
And when I got to that place of forgiveness, then I also think about why I'm forgiven and the offense that I did as well. Because it's crazy when you can think of the offense that somebody caused to you, but you can't think of the offense you caused to somebody else.
And just for the record, every relationship I've ever had, we've always broken up on a mutual note. I don't have any broken relationships. Me and my kids' fathers, we are excellent. I have excellent relationships. Any ex that I've ever had, I have an excellent rapport with, because that's what I'm saying. So even in dating, I just think that we understand that this is me. This is why it is different. This is a different panel. Everybody got that different thing. To me, I just don't want to wreck my brain about stuff that's never mind. Me wrecking my brain about getting closure ain't gonna make me no money. So what I'm going to do is try to focus on what I can do to do something else better. So I'm loving, I'm kind, I'm considerate. I'll give you the coat off my back and put my shirt on and make it a coat, okay, if need be. But how I believe and what I work with, and God knows me, so he'll send me somebody that can cultivate that. But right now, as of me dating, if we just drift off and I ain't talked to you in 2 or 3 days, hey, I've been busy. You know what I'm saying? I used to work 2 jobs. I just stopped one. I go to the gym from 5 to 6, and then I go from working from 9 to 3, and then I go to my other job from 4 to 12. So if I don't talk to you for 2 or 3 days, you know, and I ain't like you anyway, and it just happens to, what you want me to do? Call you and tell you I got a schedule, I'm busy?
But see, that's what we just said. If it's not vested time, then it doesn't mean
even
anything.
if it's vested time.
Right.
If I'm dealing with somebody, right?
Or vested feelings.
If I'm dealing with somebody and I am loving, God is Bay. And Bay stopped texting me or stopped calling me, and I start calling him and I text him and say, hey, if he don't text me back, okay. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to call you and say, why you not texting me? Do you see me calling you? Do you? I don't care if I love you. Yes, listen, I love you. You my baby.
The
you
wanted
want
and
me
the want
to call you and ask what you say?
I said there's the wanted and the wantee. The wanted and the wantee.
So my thing is that if we vibing, it's us. Oh my God. And you just stop communicating with me. What do you want me to do? I'm not wrecking my brain. Why don't nobody want no God-fearing woman, a woman who loves the Lord, who stay fly, who makes sure that she handling her business. I'm not chasing no man down for no closure.
No, let me ask you a question.
Talk, sister. Talk.
Let me ask you.
I'm the favor. That's why I said I ain't getting no closure.
Let me say something to you real quick. And somebody who works in the funeral industry.
Oh Lord.
My one of my employees walk in one day and him and his girlfriend are arguing. She says to him, you haven't called me in 3 days. Where have you been? He said, how come you didn't call me? She says, I'm not about to chase you. You know what he said? How do you know if I didn't die?
Because I'm in tune with the Lord, and the Bible said he would have let me know.
But
I can't take it.
I'm in tune with the Lord.
I'm done. I'm toast. I'm done. So you gonna tell me God gonna call you and let you know everybody to die?
Not even that. What I'm saying is, if you
gonna call pastor,
but what I'm saying though, it's too much devices for you not to know if something happened. You know when somebody is just saying,
I'm just giving you.
Yeah, that's it. I what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
But it don't fly.
if I'm in emotional tune with you, and I talk to you every day, and I can go 3 days without calling or checking in on you, then there's something wrong with that. That's an examination that needs to take place. Now, sister, I agree with you when you said, well, look, why am I going to chase you? It is what it is. And you can just walk off. But if a guy can go a particular amount of time without checking in on somebody that he's emotionally in tune to or interested in, then it's not going nowhere anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. But there's nothing wrong with saying, how was your day? Oh, I didn't hear from you yesterday. Is everything okay? But these are things. Yeah, and these are things that we develop over time, and that come to. It's all about what you said. What is my intentions on dealing with this person?
Absolutely.
And that's what it comes down to. Something else, that we talked about a little bit is
everybody.
Yeah, in terms of you talk about, and then you said, we're talking about closure and feelings, all that stuff. What happens when a man says to a woman, you talk about being overly zealous or not letting a man, talk or whatever it might be, is what happens when a man says to you, baby, you know what? How can I fix it?
Yes.
I'll be like, I'm trying to tell you.
Look, if I'm not him, it's me anyway. But
if a man, I like that type of stuff. If a man say to me, how can I fix it?
Right.
What do you need? I like that. And I'm a self-sufficient woman. Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't have no problem saying that. I don't have no problem saying I'm independent and I'm self-sufficient. But if I can get connected to a man that say, you know what, don't you worry about that. I got that. Or what can I do to help you through this?
Right.
What can I do to, going through sickness? And I'm a person, I will shut down when I'm going through sickness. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was shut down when I go through sickness. I thought that my goddaughter was like, yes, she will. I was shut down when I'm going through sickness. So you have to literally come and be like, I'm here, girl. I'm here, because I'm that person. I never want people to see me broken or weak. Okay.
Right.
So if I had a man in my life, be like, no, baby, I got you. I'm here.
Right.
That is like, that was solidified so much and everything for me in so many aspects, just to feel like I got somebody just connected to me like this.
It's about,
because what we got to know is what you want in dating. I know me personally, I don't foresee marriage right now.
Sure.
But I do want somebody to date me. I want you to actively date me.
Sure.
Okay.
But where would you, if he's actively dating you, men need a destination too. So if I'm actively keep dating you, where we going? And why should I actively keep dating you? You already told me you don't want to get married.
Just flow and be organic.
I see what you're saying, but you got to understand what you're saying versus what you're putting out there.
I'm being consistent. Flow and be organic. I don't want to be forced into a relationship. Yeah. I don't want to be forced into a marriage. I don't want to be forced. I say flow and be organic. Yeah. If it happens that I'm going to get married, God will tell me that is who you going to marry. Yeah. But I'm not having nobody come talk about, I want you to be my wife. No. You know how many men don't said that to me?
Girl, and listen, I ain't married yet. But what I'm telling you is you have already put out there. This is what you said. I don't want to get married again.
I don't.
Right so now. What you're saying is that if men
right
like,
now,
I know, okay,
that's
right now.
Okay. She said right now.
I don't right now. That's not.
I'm ready to go. Okay,
ready to get married.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready for God to send me my husband. I don't even think
now she's being open to.
Hold on. What you say, Sean? Sean, what you say?
I said there we go, because now she's admitting or saying that I'm open to.
Sean is single too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's what she said. She says, I'm open to the options, and the options that I'm choosing, I want God to send.
She's single too.
Absolutely.
I want God to send them. You see what I'm saying? So
the smell women, that's time to go. That's why too many men don't try to holler at me. They look like, oh, she trying to go. Hey, Sister Cindy. They know when women are ready to get married and don't want to play versus, you know what I'm saying, somebody who just want to date. So I don't mind it because,
right.
Yeah. But, so all of those things are important.
Oh, I want to answer Diva's question, or you can answer because she's
talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Said, do you do that with family and everybody? It's everyone. Do you
just do that to men?
No.
Give no closure, or do you do it to everyone?
Everybody. Don't respect the person.
I am a no respect the person Christian, okay? If my family member do me wrong, I will not even talk about it. I'll be like, oh, really? Okay. And you know what you did to me. Because, see, I'm one of them persons. I'll let you do me wrong. I'll shut my mouth like, word, that's what we think gonna happen. And then I will just cut the net. It's a wrap. What I'm gonna do? You not gonna try to sabotage me.
Being her friend, if she ever cut me off, I already know it's a wrap.
But see, you have to have did something to me multiple times. Okay. You have had.
So the Bible said forgive
70 times.
And guess what? If you call me and say, sis, I need this, I'm coming through. If you say, sis, I need anything, because see, I have a forgiven her. I don't have that problem. But
so you said forgiveness
in my circle.
Hold on. What you say?
I can forgive you and not allow you to keep doing that same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between, yes, I love you, I
Come on
forgive
here.
you, but I had a family member who was a crackhead who still. So you came in my house and you stole from me. I forgive you, right?
You can't come to my house.
I'm not ever letting you in my house again.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
feed
we
you if
good.
you're hungry,
Like,
but you can't live here.
it. I love you to death, but you will never step foot in my house again because I'm not going to put you back in the position to do the same thing that you did to me again.
And
that's
see,
the
I'm
thing
more. They
that
got to come
happens
2 or
in
3 times.
relationships and everything. You get to the point where it's like, I'm not going to put somebody in the position to do the same thing to me again. Right. So that don't mean I don't forgive you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm not going to just let you do the same thing again.
You're just not going to keep beating the dead horse. Like,
No.
basically, it's dead. You're going to keep beating me?
Right.
No, I'm going to cut you off. And I have no problem.
So let's say this. Let's say even in the aspect of dating or whatever. So do you guys have that 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike rule? Like, I'm dating you, you do that one thing, I'm done.
Subconsciously, yes, because if it reminds me of the past, more than likely I'm out. That doesn't make it right. But if it reminds me of past situations, I'm probably gone.
For me personally, I don't have a 1 strike rule or 2 strike. I think it's all about it's all about the individual that I'm vibing with, because everybody deserves, we're going to make mistakes, and
absolutely
men and women are alike in a lot of different ways. They are very similar, and they're also far apart in a whole lot of different ways too. So just because, now let me get the story. Let me tell you this too. If you were a man or a woman, and you can see that she has some abusive tendencies, or he has some abusive, you might want to run the opposite direction.
Yeah.
But just because, let's not get the 3 strike game mixed up with the intolerations that we have too, because there's some things that we just don't tolerate in relationships. Those things that we're not going to tolerate in the relationship will make us go and disappear. But It comes back again to the compromising situation about, what am I willing to take? What am I willing to give? What am I willing to offer? What am I willing to receive? Because all of those things are very important. And we talk about, this whole assimilation of red flags and this. We also got to pay for the spirit of discernment too.
Absolutely.
In relationships. Because you have to be able to pick up when it's not right, or when it's just the flesh. But I can tell you this, when you know something, that is when your mind and body and soul will have a peace about the person that you're enduring. And when there's a peace, you can identify between mistakes that people are making and their intentional wickedness that they're doing to you.
Right.
And that's what separates you from, let's be forgiving with one another, or I'm out. You got to find another place, bro, sister. You know what I mean? And that's the way that we have to operate in terms of, these relationships, because relationships are hard and require a lot of work and require a lot of diligence and due diligence. And if you're not willing to put that type of work in, then you may not be ready for one in the aspect of being, wholly committed to somebody.
And you got to respect where people are.
Yes.
If someone tell you, I'm not ready for a relationship, I'm not willing to be obligated to you or to be responsible of your feelings, you got to respect that and move accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't invest so much time or so much energy into that person that you're in the hopes of changing, because you can't change nobody's mind.
No.
You can't change nobody's mind. And I'm a firm believer. You just can't change anybody's mind. When they're in that place and they're in that headspace, you have to give them that place, give them that headspace, and you move accordingly. I do believe in open dating. I do believe that you should date and you should go on dates. You should hang out with whoever you want to hang out with. Now, I'm not open to, the whole sex and stuff. I ain't open to that. I'm not
open to open dating.
But I think that dating like that and dating, with the potential of someone getting more interest and getting more connected to you, I'm okay with that. It's called healthy dating.
Well, how do you openly date and still keep and know where your focus is?
Come on here.
I think that I think when you do that, when you openly date, is that you're putting people into a competitive nature, a competitive
Absolutely.
spirit.
And men don't like to be into competitive nature.
You putting them into a competitive because if you're single, you're single. You single with the option of dating whoever you want to date.
And that's why I'm dating you, because I'm single with the option to date, and I'm dating you. And after you mess up, or if you say whatever happens here, you know, Johnny Bravo.
Maybe I got ADHD.
No, it's not.
I don't think dating multiple people are
I got multiple things going, but I only can put my all into one person.
When you dating multiple people, it's like that saying they say, well, one won't do, the other will. You're not really giving them person
a chance,
a fair shot. Like
that's
not. I think,
I'm just speaking in general. Right, but your goal ain't to give that one person that one shot. Because you're not thinking in that mindset. You're not in a tunnel vision of, I'm just dating right here.
Then you kicking it.
If I give you my number.
Hold on, let me finish. Because this is real life. So I'm dating one person at a time, right?
Absolutely.
If I'm dating you, and I know what I want, I know the things I can deal with, I know the things I can't deal with, I know the things I can compromise. If I tell a man, I like when you open my door and we go out one time, you don't open, we go out 2 times, you open, you're not listening, I don't want to be with you, you're done. Next. Yeah. So that's the type like that. So it's not like I'm dating them for long periods of time. You already know what you want and what you can tolerate and what you can't tolerate. Right. If I'm telling you what I like,
yes,
and you're not doing that, if I tell you I'll talk to you in 3 days, it's a wrap, and you go 3 days without talking to me, don't even talk. Like it's over. Like I can't deal, because if I'm actively dating somebody and getting to know them, if I can go 3 days without talking to them, they're not for me, because that's just not what I want. So they're done.
You'll be mad at me if I was.
Well, hold on. I went 3 days without talking to somebody, and that don't mean they wasn't the one. I really liked them, but I mean,
they wasn't the one.
You gotta understand, life gets in the way too.
I asked them out fast. That's just how it is.
I was in my feelings, so I went 3 days. Okay,
but you know what?
I was back on track.
You're saying 3 days, and life does get in the way. But what I'm learning is this: a text message. Hold on, no, I'm not saying. I'm agreeing with you. Simple. Hey, I had a busy day today, but hey, how are you? You know what I'm saying? That's some form of communication.
No, for real. Listen, pause though. For real. This is personal. I'm about to ask you something personal. If it's somebody you really interested in, Joshua, you're gonna go 3 days without talking to them?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna find out.
Okay, that's it. That's the second.
It might not be.
You see how she said it? Joshua.
Yeah. She
okay. No. Okay. So I've been interested in someone. I'm talking about interested in someone, and I went 3 days without talking to him.
That's you.
You a different type of beast.
Shut up. I mean, and it's not that I like them, and I just jump back like, hey, and it's
it's like this.
Like you said earlier, what's
important to you? You make time for it.
Listen,
I don't live with my kids. I don't live with my kids. I don't care how busy I get, and I have some busy days. I'm going to make sure that I talk to my kids. If it ain't nothing but a text message, hey, thinking about you, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? My son got the Alexa. I might get an Alexa. Hey, buddy, how was your day at school? I'm not going to go a day without talking to them. If I'm interested in a female, I'm not going to go a day. It might not be a long 2-hour conversation, but I'm not going to go a day without at least some form of communication.
So hey, if you do that,
I gotta work on that with me. I can tell people that all day. Me, I'm stubborn. You go 3 days and you don't call me, you know where your number going? It's gonna be silent. So whenever you text a call, I get it when I get it. Okay.
I mean, come on, y'all. Y'all gotta be a little easier.
No, if I
no,
know,
you ain't talking about no. I ain't going.
I said a couple of days.
No, it's a wrap. 72 hours. No. I want to.
But I gotta be invested in you, because I am a person that I emotionally detach easily.
Okay.
Yes.
I am, and because my goddaughter know I will emotionally detach easily.
So I got a question for the ladies though.
I feel like if you're not giving me that, I didn't hear you.
Are you going to go 3 days without reaching out?
Absolutely.
No, I'm not.
I I have.
Because it's two sides. It's two
I
sides
have.
to that.
Oh, two ways.
So because
Yeah,
what
I
happens
have.
is because what
And that
happens
don't mean I didn't like the person. That don't
we
mean
put
that.
expectations. We'll put expectations on the man. He got to do this. He got to do this. But at the same token, are you willing to do the same thing?
Absolutely.
Are you willing to not go 3 days without at least reaching out to him?
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I ain't gonna say that because I do it.
I do it. That's what I say. Anything that
I do it.
did,
I ghost people in a minute.
what? You be ghosted?
Yeah, I'm a professional ghoster.
Listen, if I'm dating,
if I don't feel like there is no potentiality with it, and again, like I said, I have a standard now that I want to be dated. I want to be courted. And if I don't feel like you do that, and I feel like I'm giving and you're just taking, I'm a ghost you. I'm
a ghost. You can be everything going perfectly fine.
That's
no perfect.
Something wrong with that.
Yeah,
But
I mean, ghosting is just exiting the friendship.
Listen, we were supposed to be talking about another topic, and this is perfect because this is definitely something that we have to ask about what's in people's closet, because there's something actually deeper in certain situations.
Come on, what's in the closet?
Certain
like another person.
You understand what I'm saying? Because there are certain things about an individual that they mask, that they hide, that they is undercover, all types of things. So when you're dating multiple people,
come on here.
There's some things that this person not gonna get, this person not gonna get. Opposed to when you're dating one person, okay, if you're liking this person, listen, I'm fearful of this. I'm just being real. Like, I'm not about to, if I know I want to be married, I'm not dating nobody that don't want to be married. We're wasting. Do you want? If you tell me a story because you're fearful of what I'm going to react, that's something
losing you,
right? Mm-hmm. Then you're gonna lose me anyway. You understand? So like, we have to figure out what a person wants. You understand? I was single. My daughter's father and I broke up when I was 4.5 months pregnant. My daughter about to be 8. I have dated people, but I have not been in a committed relationship. You know why? It took me 3 years to heal from that. And I really did the work. I did it. You understand what I'm saying?
That's good.
I was hurt. I was angry. I wasn't even bitter, but I forgave. But then it was certain things that I said I would not tolerate ever again.
Absolutely.
But I had to recognize things that was within myself, things that I was allowing to happen, things that were going on. So now when I see, oh no, I don't want to deal with that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm fearful of getting my heart broken, but guess what? I'm not fearful of taking a chance.
All right, because
you have to take a chance. You have to put yourself out there, but people have to literally heal for real, because hurt people definitely hurt people, and they sometimes don't even have the intention to do it.
Yeah, they do it. They do it unintentionally.
They do it unintentionally because, like Joshua said earlier, filling voids, trying to fill voids. When I was actively on my celibacy journey, I couldn't put myself in situations because I knew this would happen, or that would happen. I'm just being real. Yeah. So what are you masking? What is in your closet? What are you hiding? What are you not being real about? What are you just trying to show people and really not being honest about? There's always something deeper than what people are saying. People have to listen,
pay attention,
and hear.
2 ears and 1 mouth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why I said I wrote out where my book at.
But that's a good topic. And I told her when she said that, what's in your closet? Yeah. A lot of times, like, we're all very transparent on here. I'm transparent. Yes, okay. Me too. What's in my closet? In my closet is because I never got to date. I got married at 17. Yeah. So right now I'm capturing the dating moments. Okay. Sure. And I said before, and I said before, I never said I'll never get married. I said I don't want to get married at this time. Right. Okay. Because I'm capturing the moment. And I know I'm a wife. I know I'm a wife. Okay. Because I was a good wife. Yeah, and just because I'm divorced doesn't mean I wasn't a good wife. Mm-hmm. I know I did almost 30 years. So I know it was something good and do it almost 30 years. But I do understand this, that right now I'm 17. I don't know nothing about actually dating. I'm like,
Dating
I
is new for
understand
you.
the gamut of dating, and I'm enjoying the tension. I'm enjoying the dinners. I'm enjoying the traveling. I'm enjoying all of that. Yeah. I'm enjoying the moment of somebody. I'm enjoying my singleness. I'm enjoying somebody saying, "Hey, how you doing, beautiful? How you doing?" You know, I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the fact that when I walk in the room, heads turn and they like, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?" You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm enjoying that. And the thing is, what's in my closet is what was in my closet was abuse, verbal, emotionally, mentally, anguish, death, divorce, cancer. Right. That all was in my closet. Right. And because all of that was in my closet, and when I began to open the door of my closet, all of that fell out and I had to deal with it. I had to face my reality. I had to deal with the reflection of everything that went on. And then I had to get to a place of not only forgiving myself, but forgiving all those people that was attached to all of that stuff that was in my closet. Well, so once I got to that place, now I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying the singleness of Annetta Williams. I'm enjoying that Annetta can jump out in a plane and go out of town and enjoy herself without being attached to somebody else or feeling like I needed to be belonging to somebody else or feeling like I had to have a man fill a void just so I could feel complete and happy. Annetta ain't there no more. That Annetta is not there. She died. She's deceased. She was buried. She's covered in the dirt. She's not coming back. But so now when a man connects to me now, he's connecting to the wholeness of me. Yeah. Not the broken fragments of me.
Yeah, and that's the other part too. You talk about what's in the closet. Is the other side of that is a lot of times too, is that people are subjectively in the closet three different ways. The first way has to do with personality. The second way deals with morality, and the other one is plurality. Plurality dealing with oftentimes when they're not totally transparent is because there's often somebody else. Because if you're in the single mode and you are attentive and devoted to this person in a singular kind of way, you don't mind being transparent with them because you want them to return to transparency. Absolutely. The second part is the morality that they have. Okay, then. And what comes along with morality is sexuality, other phases of life that people go through. When somebody is not totally open with you, then they're hiding something. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. If somebody cannot divulge to you all about who they are in terms of personality and all this, they're hiding something from you. So when you ask the question, what's in your closet, you are opening a large gamut of things. And you have to be prepared psychologically and emotionally to be prepared what they might tell you or what you might find out. Google is a mother. You hear me? Absolutely. And when you start digging into somebody's past, but don't also too, I tell people, don't dig into somebody's past and closet without allowing them to offer a reasonable explanation too. Right. You see what I'm saying? Right. Because oftentimes people are afraid to and has a fear factor about what they're getting ready to tell you or release to you, because releasing something to you on a transparent level comes along with a great deal of trust. And Netta, you said a lot of different things. You said what was in your closet was cancer and abuse and subjectiveness to some life woes that you have or whatever. So you have to be prepared if a man wants to take all of those things on, because though you buried all of those things, they're still reminiscent.
There's triggers.
There's still triggers and reminiscence that come along there, and you have to allow a man to have the ability to determine if he wants to take that on or if he says that's too much for me, because there's some brothers that have come along until he just heal everything you've been through and be like the blood of Jesus and wash it white.
Ooh, Lord, send him.
You see what I'm saying? So and it's the same thing. Yeah. And it's the same thing for a man too. It goes back to when you talk about being transparent, make sure that somebody can give you their plurality or well, say their singularity, their morality, making sure they're in a good place in their life and make sure there's nothing undercover about them. Especially in this deep, dark, divisive, spiritless world that we're in now, where it seems like anything goes. It seems like anything goes. And that is the part too that is dividing relationships, because the internet is so busy with the demonic forces that are around us. And my pastor told me something one time. He says, I don't know if your Bible belongs in your phone, because there's certain pictures that you wouldn't put in your Bible. You know what I mean? And that makes sense that the Bible should be a separate component of your life.
I need to see the word when I read.
There's a separate component of your life that ought to be separate, and your Bible and spirituality ought to be that. Because when you're asking what's in somebody's closet, my point is you've got to be prepared spiritually for what they're getting ready to release on you.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. Is like, we asked that question, but can we really handle what's in people's closet?
Yeah, I might be like, leave it there.
And then sometimes too, with me, I'm scared to open that up, because then the wrong person will take that information and then they use it. The worst thing ever is to have somebody hurt you the same way based off what you told them.
Yes,
like
the information they have.
Somebody did X, Y,
vulnerability hurt.
Right, and then you turn around and do the same exact thing that someone else did to me, and so it's like, it's hard to open that part of you up to people, because you're like, I don't want you to turn around and use that same thing against me. So we keep our closet to ourselves for various reasons. Sometimes, yes, it is because we just simply got a bunch of crap to hide, and we don't want people to know the real us. But then sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable, because you can take that and use that against me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think too, far as with all of that is like, I think we misplace relationships as far as like how they're supposed to be limited. Oh, I think it should be like this. Like Annetta said earlier, it should be authentic, and it should flow. It should flow, and everybody should have their own relationship, not based upon what you think it should be. Like,
absolutely.
Oh, it's that limited belief. Like, oh, the man's supposed to do this, the woman's supposed to do that. I think it's important that's why communication is important, because you talk about all these things,
Right.
And organically flowing means that some questions I ain't even got to ask you during our conversation of getting to know each other. Right. I should find out some things about you. I said, oh, okay, I see that this happened or that. When you did, that's why when you have your attention on one person, you can see something that bothered them that they didn't say nothing about. You know what I'm saying? Because your attention is focused on them. You can say, oh, okay, well, you know what? We went here before, and I see, maybe they don't like this. So I know next time not to order or make this or something. So, organically flowing means we're going to have a conversation about, and people don't come and ask, what's in your closet? Like, you want me to tell you I'm crazy? I just got out of CPAP. I mean,
well, this the thing, though. What's in your closet? That point alluded to all the other topics, because when she said what's in your closet, she's really talking about people unmasking and being genuine about where they are as individuals. And I think sometimes in the dating aspect, most of the time in a dating aspect, we're always sending our representative instead of being our own individual self. And sometimes you always want to put on the best appearance, the best facade, so the person can be interested. Listen, I'm a goofball. I'm crazy. I like to have fun.
Listen,
I'm professional. I'm about my business. I'm a grinder. You gonna know all of that out the gate, okay? I'm not a person. I'm not easily moved with emotions. I'm not easy to cry. I'm not, that's just
saying
that's just stuff that, you will know about me
when you get to know me.
Right. I'm a deflector. If I feel like it's getting too emotional, I'm a deflect. But everybody, you got to know what you're dealing with and how you're dealing with that person, so you can know how to move in that facet with that person. Mm-hmm. I had a man tell me, dang, you real emotionally detached. You worse than a man. And I was like, so are you saying that only men can be emotionally detached? And I told him, I said, I'm not that I'm emotionally detached. Like,
that would be sexist.
Right. I said, it's not that I'm emotionally detached. I put value where value is needed. That's what I do. Okay. So if I don't find value in having something with you, I'm not putting that value into that.
Okay. And another thing is that the part of me that I represent to people is not going to be the representation of somebody that I'm interested in, I'm dating. So the Lucinda that you see as Facebook or Saved and Slayed and how I move is not going to be the person that I'm going to be when I'm dating someone or I like them or I'm in tune. You understand what I'm saying? everybody shouldn't see that part of me. I don't have to come
agree
tell
with that.
you.
That goes to that vulnerability.
I don't have to come tell you who I am, what I'm doing, and how I'm going. Either you go pay attention to me through conversation and you will get it because men are studiers, or you just not. So if I tell you that you know what, I don't like that. I only eat seafood, and you was like, I thought you were chicken dinner. Oh, I know you're not paying no attention, so I'm gonna call you never back.
Right.
What happens too?
Yes, that's the part.
When you're getting to know someone too, I'm multifaceted. So I put on here Joshua for a reason. People say, "Oh, you're a minister." Okay, I'm a teacher's aide. Yes, but when I'm dating somebody, I want you to know Joshua.
Thank you.
Simple and plain.
And so what happens is titles.
Right. So I'm not, because when I come home, I'm just Joshua. Right. And if you're my lady, I need you to know me on that level. So I might be upset, I might cuss, I might whatever, but you're my lady, so I want you to know me. I want you to know Joshua.
But Joshua, I agree with you. But let me say this to you too, because what is important, I respect your title, and your title is very important. And when you're involved in ministry, you are giving a lot of yourself to people personally. Ministry is an organization, but not a total business. And it's hard to separate your heart when you leave out of your ministry and when you get home. And you have to have a woman who is going to be able, or a wife, that somebody is going to be able to minister to you. My father in the ministry taught me that.
Absolutely.
He says one of the best things that you're pay attention. One of the best things that your mother offered to me is that when I got home, she pastored me. Not only did she pastor me, but she pampered me. Okay, then. So it's good to know Joshua, and she needs to know Joshua, but she has to know what does the minister go through as well.
Yes.
How does she speak and minister to your heart when you get home? You know, so those things are important too. Just wanted to throw that in there. So
that, and I love that you said that.
And pouring back into.
I love that you said that, because that's what the relationship is all about. A relationship is about being able to come into the house and all of the world society stuff. You want to be able to ease that off of your man's mind, your woman's mind. And I'm just speaking for me. You want to be able to be a so intricate part of his piece.
Yes.
That when all of that stuff is going on, he could just lay his head on your shoulder or on your
exactly.
And he could take care of you. Take care. Y'all be tripping. I'm gonna say this for everybody on here. Church people always want to act like you don't want to talk about sex and talk about this. The book of Solomon is
rough.
It's all about it. Okay, he wrote it for our understanding. He wrote it for our gathering. He wrote it.
And he also said the marriage bed is not defiled. So
people get all caught up in that. But the thing is about relationship is being able to be so vulnerable with your mate or the person that you're connecting to on that intimacy level, because it means into me you see. Okay, you into me you see. Okay, so you gotta be so connected.
I never heard that.
You gotta be so connected to that person that even when I'm not speaking, you know when I'm hurting. Even when I'm not speaking, you know when I feel like I'm being loved. Even when I'm not in your presence, I'm sitting at my desk working at the computer and I get a warm sensation on me. It's because I'm connected to you. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. When you in a connected relationship with a person, okay. When I'm away from you, you are not just a vivid thought, but you are a thought. Of process, okay. So that's the thing that women are looking. Yes, I did. I said thought. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that women are looking for and men are looking for. But in the aspect of looking for that, you have to be organic and genuine about what you're looking for and what you need. We also got to know the difference in what you want and what you need. Okay,
say that,
because sometimes we get it twisted. I mean, Rachel was beautiful. Leah was what he needed. Okay, come on, let's get this right here. Rachel was what he wanted, but Leah was what he needed.
And why was Leah what he needed?
And sometimes Leah was what he needed because we wouldn't have a savior. It all connects back. He got to understand. He had to understand that process. Rachel looked good on the eye, but Rachel was not going to give him what he needed. Okay. And so sometimes we have to be able to connect to what we need versus what we want. Yeah, he's 6'2". He looked good. He got a nice body. He got a good job. He looked great on paper, but he abusive. Okay. Not just verbally, but physically. And he not in tune with my emotions. He's good at taking from me. He like to receive gifts, but he don't like to give them. He's this. He's not great in bed. He's not a pleaser in all aspects. So sometimes you got to know what you want is not always what you need.
Well, let's deal with that for a moment, because you talked about the sexual side of relationships. Let's deal with the sexual side in the moral aspect for a moment in terms of marriage, because she said that the marriage bed is undefiled. That's very important in terms of marriage and even in relationships too, because if you're not getting what you want sexually, guess what happens? That's a separation that comes. And when that separation comes, it allows other small things to develop, and those small things grow.
Small.
Okay, so those are the things when you talk about. You have to deal as Christians. You've got to deal with the sexuality of relationships. Now,
say that sentence one more time. The sentence that you just said. I'm sorry, they were laughing.
You said
if sex is not what.
That I tell you have to deal with sex. You have to talk about sex in Christianity.
Absolutely,
sex is very important because if you don't address it, guess what? Now, follow me as I say this now, because when you talk about sexuality and stuff like that, sexuality deals with the advantage to be able to please somebody.
Absolutely.
So when you come home, brother, yes, I want my woman to kiss on my neck and my chest, just like she want me to kiss on her neck and her chest or her breast too. Those things are important because the sensuality is what not only does it help in the process of healing. And I give you an example.
Yes.
If you're in the middle of an argument, instead of keeping the argument going, sometimes you gotta throw her down on the bed and say, hey, you know what, this is what it is.
This is what it is.
Okay, then. So instead of continuing to argue, when the flesh connects,
when the spirit connects, the flesh.
Okay, so when those two things come together, you will see a destination come.
Like, oh my God, I would never. You never will. Neither, sis.
Right.
So sex is a part of a conversation when you're going somewhere. You feel like you're going somewhere. This is just not a conversation that you just bust out and have with every time Harriet say they like you.
It's not.
As men and women of God.
That's right. And it has to be from the person that you have a real live, as you said, the word organic, visual, interested, vested interest in, because that is the person who you're going to devote your focus. And when you devote your focus emotionally, you're going to devote it sexually too.
Absolutely. Okay? I'm a firm believer of that. You can, if you love them, the sex is going to be good no matter what. If you love them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one thing that I had a pastor teach me one time, a pastor in Columbus, good friend of mine, older man, gone home to be with the Lord now. He was like that when you talk about submissiveness, being submissive to, it is not just, oh, babe, can you cook my dinner tonight? She's saying
absolutely
yes.
Not.
It is also being submissive to in the bedroom.
Absolutely.
For both individuals. And people have to be open-minded that a woman has to allow her man to explore her body and vice versa. Because that is the only opening, that is the closest and the most, one of the most important components of the relationship that you can have. What did God say? He said, be fruitful and multiply. The one of the most important things that two human individuals can do is to procreate, right? And bring another individual into this world. The first part of sex was to procreate, which is why you're supposed to do it within the confinements of marriage. The other one was to give pleasure. And if you're not giving me pleasure physically, I may not be totally open to the pleasure you're trying to give me.
Absolutely. How can I give you pleasure and you ain't even gave me no peace?
Exactly.
I need peace. When I come in here, I don't need 18 chicks here. I don't need your phone ringing. I don't need you on with nobody, but it needs to be me and my man.
Exactly. When you come in, the wine ought to be ready to go.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
And that's what's that?
I nice.
No, it says STG. What's that? What's that mean? I forgot. I've been saying
Swear
it.
to God.
Swear to God. STG. Swear to God.
Yeah.
Lord,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
know.
but
And
I'm
it
just
goes-
saying that's what
Yeah.
Mary had a little lamb.
That's what Jesus said, though.
That's
Can we say
Yeah,
that?
and it goes back to, and you have to be in terms of marriage now, because you don't want to open yourself up to everybody who comes along. But
Absolutely never.
But in terms of marriage, there has to be an openness and openness there that you're willing to give somebody, so they know what you like and know what you don't like. How can they please you? How can they pleasure you? And guess what? One of the greatest things, Josh, that your wife will ever be able to do for you, that when you receive her and she receives you, is to be able to explore you and give you what you want, whether you be Pastor or Joshua.
Amen.
Okay, and it's the same thing. You as the
Joshua.
I'm paying attention.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure you was looking down. You know.
Yeah, and those are things that we have to talk about in relationships. And we talk about that. That's important because we don't do that enough in the church, and that is why sex gets exploited in the church. Oh, Deacon was sleeping with sister so and so, and the pastor was with her. That because it gets exploited because nobody really understands it coming from the Christianity side of it.
Right. They need a money.
So they
Well, part of it, I always say that I'm a social media head. I'm out in social media. I'm with my businesses, ministry, everything. So I feel like the one thing I can keep private is my relationship. Yeah. So if I am dating somebody exclusively, you ain't gonna know.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
You ain't gonna know, because I feel like that's the one thing that I need to keep exclusively. People are hitting me up because they're not getting this on. Okay, guys. So we're gonna sign out and come back in. Okay. Because they're not getting it on Facebook. So we can sign out.
Then it's a lot of good stuff.
It is a lot of good. You know what I'm gonna do? This is what we gonna do, because we don't want to prolong this. Next week, I'm gonna have you all back on for part 2. You guys are going to send me your talking points. We're going to finish about forgiveness in a relationship and for a relationship.
That's important.
And then we're going to put on our other topics. So next week, I'm going to invite you guys to come on next week so we can be able to talk about it. And Josh, you better be here.
I'm going to be on time.
I got you.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed sharing with you all.
It's been good.
Yes, we enjoyed you guys.
What's your name, ma'am? I'm sorry. Yeah. What's the other lady's name?
Oh, Sister Cindy. I'm Cindy. I'm sorry, my kids.
Can you just be Cindy?
Okay, I'm Cindy.
Now?
I'm Cindy.
Thank you.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's a little joke that when my kids are being sarcastic.
Okay, so Pastor Sean, we see you next week, right?
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you owe me big time, Pastor Sean.
I'll pay you too. I got you, sweetheart.
Okay. All right.
I'll pay you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys.
So we'll see y'all next week. I will send you guys the information for next week. I love y'all. Thank you again. I appreciate y'all. Y'all can share this. This is on YouTube, Facebook, and everything. So we were live YouTube as well. So share, go like my page, all that stuff. Follow us. And we will hit y'all back.
Facebook?
And I have a YouTube channel. It's called Saved and Slayed. It's a women's empowerment movement where we take responsibility of our own actions, which I didn't used to do. So you see how God take your problems and make them a ministry. It's called Saved and Slayed. We have I have a podcast, and I'm on YouTube as well.
All right, guys.
All right.
I love y'all.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Okay.